Welcome, top performers. This is exciting times for us that you have all been just such magnificent creators. I have heard back from some of you as you're living more in the green zone and thinking about the things that you want. And then whether you have them or not in your current experience, you have to be thinking about the things that you want and doing it deliberately. And before the call that I was talking with one of you, and that it was something happened where, moving into a smaller home, and their furniture didn't fit, and she could have, just broken down and thought life was miserable, and what that would have created was more breakdowns in more areas, and then her business would have suffered, and relationships or whatever. Instead, she stood tall. And she recognized that she is the power, and she can feel good right now. And by feeling good, that starts calling in all the things that you have asked for. So she felt good. She recognized, hey, this is no big deal. This will pass too. And that I'm now going to bigger and better things. And as you start thinking that and knowing that those are the things that are going to come to you. It's just amazing. You're amazing, and you are the creator of your own experience. In fact, I want to share with you that I personally, within the last week, had an experience, and you may want to write down right now this quote, that I want to have ethical business building ideas. So I want to have ethical business building ideas, opportunities, and manifestations. And I personally have been asking for that. And I have had some amazing business opportunities where I can serve and help and inspire and encourage and uplift the world. And however, and literally, I mean, these are huge business opportunities that have occurred. And that what happened is that I was approached by a Japanese company, a very large company. I checked them out on the internet, etc. And they needed me to do some help for them. And so they sent me a check for $172,000. Now, when I received that check, it looked real. It was from my bank even, so I knew my bank could verify it. So my bank went, when I deposited it, I said, I'm not depositing this. I haven't done business yet with them. And so this is the first one, but, here's the payment that they're giving me. And I just want to make sure that this is correct. So the bank went and verified the check is good, that everything is a go, and I'd have the funds in my bank account the next day. Well, the next day came, and I decided I'm going to wait one more day. And so I listened to my intuition, and that always, all those that have walked before us, especially loved ones that are no longer here on this plane, are here guiding you all the time. And they're guiding you with their feelings to your feelings. And so I felt a little like suspicious, didn't quite, and normally I never attract that type of thing, but I had been asking for just business building ideas, opportunities. And again, for those of you that just jumped on the line here, you want to write down, I want to have more ethical business building ideas, opportunities, and manifestations. And so literally they have come to me within weeks. I was just gaining so many different business opportunities, but I ran into this business opportunity. And so last Friday, I went and I asked the bank again, is this good? Are you sure it's good? Because I needed to wire a portion of the funds back. And they said, oh yeah, it's good, and it's ready to go. So I said, I really want you to call the people that signed the check. Two people needed to sign this $172,000 check. And so they called the first person. The first person verified, oh yeah, we wrote the check, and it's all good. And I went, God darn, this is amazing. Well, the second person that they called that wrote on the check, that they then when they answered, they said, "Did you write that check for 172,000?" And they said, "Yes, I did. I wrote that check for 172,000 to so and so," and they mentioned a different company. It wasn't my company. It was a different company. So I just sunk and like the fraud got involved with it, and banking fraud. And if that wire would have gone through, it would have literally, they say, just for years, it ruins you financially. And so that was on Friday, and I really didn't know what the outcome or what the steps are, but I decided to create the circumstances that I wanted. And so I started to think about how I want this situation. And I would suggest that you write down some of this, because you all have been in and may be in situations that you don't like. And you'll want to use some of these thoughts in order to inspire and create the energy to call the universe to you to help you to resolve this. So I asked, and I said, I want this circumstance. Again, I would write down, I want this circumstance to be resolved easily, quickly, and so easily and resolved, okay, easily, quickly, to the benefit of me. And so I just started getting in this past weekend, I just started getting really into thinking about how well this is going to be, that I'm going to go, and all of a sudden I started getting ideas. See, you are given ideas through actual vibration, and then those become thoughts. That I had the idea, I'm going to go to the bank on Monday morning and talk with them. And what was I going to talk with them? And the first thing I was going to do is thank them. And so I started getting these glorious, godly thoughts about, I'm going to thank the bank. And you'll be given thoughts, ideas, opportunities, okay, and manifestations that you'll be given that. And you just need to trust in God, that there is a God, that God is there with you all the time and will give you the feelings and thoughts and then the perfect words. Like this morning, I asked I want this session to be, and I didn't even know I was going to share this with you, okay, but I've been inspired to share it with you because I realize we've all been in situations we want to get out of, whether it's relationships, whether it's a bad deal, whatever, and that we have the power to create the experience that we want and the outcome that we want, no matter what the circumstances appear to us. I mean, I had literally, supposedly, the whole banking system against me or whatever, and, fraud and canceling my checking account. I mean, it was just amazing. So I kind of started coming up with these ideas. Source, God, started giving me these ideas. I'm going to go in. I'm going to thank them. I'm going to share with them on this experience I had about 40 years ago when I was 21 years old, that I was in the Vietnam vet, and I was stationed at the time in Korea, and I had an opportunity to the Korean mafia came to me, and I was responsible for 5 supply points in Korea. And they came to me and they said, hey, we have an amazing opportunity for you where you can make lots of money. That all we need to do is use your trucks that you have, and we're going to go into your supply points, and we'll be able to manage all the paperwork and everything. And again, this is the Korean mafia talking to me about this, that we'll be able to manage all the paperwork, and what we'll do is we'll just start shipping truckloads of refrigerators and microwaves and gasoline and all kinds of things, blankets and all kinds of things that they wanted. And I said, great, but I want to talk to the head Korean mafia Korean guy, the head guy. So they said, sure. So we arranged a meeting in Seoul where I meet the head guy. And when I'm in his car with him and my interpreter, and we pull up to a restaurant, and the car in front of us and behind us, they're all bodyguards and armed bodyguards. They jump out of the car, they go into the restaurant, and the restaurant clears, like the whole restaurant all the people leave because this big mafia guy is coming in and for safety purposes or whatever that, and so the whole restaurant clears and then we go in there and have our dinner, whatever. And so we came into agreement that they pay me lots of money, whatever, and that we'd be stealing from, in essence, the United States. And I said, great, we're going to, be doing that. And I left and I immediately went to my commanding officer, told him of the amazing situation I found myself in, that we could catch the Korean mafia. And so here I am, a 21-year-old kid, and my direct chain of command changes that day, and they contacted Washington, D.C., and now I'm working for the CIA. Again, I'm this 21-year-old kid working for the CIA. And so we make some runs and everything, and we eventually catch them. And the day that we went and we emptied out the trucks with materials and goods and filled it with military people. I was not in those trucks, and filled it with military people, and we caught them. That day, they flew me out of Korea to Japan. So I decided, back to my story about this weekend, so I decided that I was given these beautiful thoughts on, yes, I'm going to share with them about this. The only time I've ever been in any experience like this is in Korea, and that I would share it to them. So I just started pre-paving the way that I wanted this, just like I want you to start pre-paving your life the way that you want it, your business the way that you want it, the relationships the way you want it. If you look at what is, you're just going to continue to get what is. Or if you start thinking about the future and what bad stuff is going to happen, oh, that guy's going to be worse, there aren't enough homes out there that are listed and there's a shortage of inventory. If you start saying all of that stuff, you'll start getting that. Because you literally are in the center, and maybe you want to write this down, that you are in the center of your universe, that you commanded with your thoughts. And so I walked in on Monday morning at 9 o'clock into the bank, and I sat down, and there, who's sitting the front desk? I mean, it's just amazing how everything, the people, places, circumstances were, who's sitting right there, and not with anybody at the time, and it's the vice president of the bank. And for whatever reason, he's sitting at the front office and not in his back office, which, he is. It's kind of tough to get into him, et cetera. So I just come in and I say, hey, do you have a minute? He says, sure, sit down. And I share with him and I thank him about how wonderful this is and how I really felt like I felt so empty inside on this happening and how this could happen. And so we started this amazing discussion. He said, hey, everything's going to be resolved by tomorrow. You'll see, we'll have everything resolved for you. And I just went, oh, this is exactly the way that I wanted it. I wanted it easy, quick, and simple. And again, I'm dealing with entities and powers that I have no control over, but I have control over my experience. And you have control over your experience. So don't be thinking, oh, there's a shortage of homes out there, because I'm telling you that there are agents that I coach with that, like, for example, one of them, in fact, we're going to look at her profile a little bit later, Len, that, you want to know how many homes she's closing this month? 6. And so do you want to close 6? When I met Len, she was selling 1 home every other month. She's now selling between 4 and 6 to 7 homes every month, and the month still isn't over. So I want you to start realizing that, and write this down, I am the creator of my experience. I create it the way I want it. And so it doesn't matter about however you have been brought up to believe, however you have, however you think that it normally has happened, what your past experience has shown you that happened, that what you do is you start calling it forth. So I want you to start calling forth ideal referral partners, ideal clients into your business. I want you to start calling forth your ideal, a thriving business. That your relationships are brilliant. And I know that a few of you are right now kind of in the middle of transitioning with relationships, and then know that what's happening is, and I want all of you to know, that you have the power right now to begin walking in the corridor of joy by you feeling good each moment. And as you walk in the corridor, so just visualize yourself walking through the corridor of joy and having, just take a deep breath. I want you to really embrace this, and don't be multitasking, that there is no such thing, that you can only think of one thing at a time and go back and forth. And I want you to immerse yourself with this, is this is going to change your life. This is going to make your life the way you wanted it, with your dreams come true. So I want you to just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. It's the fastest way for you to connect with God, with your source. In the Bible, the word spirit means breath. And so I want you to just think about your breath, connecting, relaxing, and then see yourself walking through the corridor of joy. And now I want you to start seeing the doors of abundance opening wide for you, one door after the next. It's the thriving business, the thriving life, the good health, the delightful relationships, the significant others, husband, wife, lover, the perfect people are flowing in to you. All the money that you desire. That another great statement to write down is that I want all the money for my comfort. So again, write this down. I want all the money. I want all the money for my comfort, joy, and desires. And just easily say that, lovingly say that. I want you to start falling in love with you. I want you to start falling in love with the world. This is a good world when you start looking for the good. It's only bad when you start fearing, when you start doubting, when you start having those committee members take over. Remember last time we talked about that red zone, and no longer are we going to allow these committee members to take over. That instead, your higher self, the essence of who you are, your broader perspective is going to start taking over now. And you're going to be so happy. This world, again, has all the things you don't want, all the things that you do want. And that what you just sift through it. And what you're used to doing is sifting through and finding the things unwanted, what most of you would call bad things. It's just unwanted. There's no really bad or good. It's wanted or unwanted. And you sift through, found the unwanted, and then you hung your hat on the unwanted. You started talking about it, the unwanted. You started thinking about the unwanted. And then you started getting cooperative components of unwanted things into your life. And you said one day, it can't get any worse than this. And then it did. And so now you can say, and this is a great question and kind of comment, almost statement that you ask the universe. How does it get any better than this? And I'm telling you that, I feel all my angels and everybody around me, this infinite intelligence, they just love that because they come calling. When you go asking, they come calling, and they're coming calling with, again, these ideas, these circumstances, these people, these thoughts that you have, that everything is coming to you and you have the power. That's what you intended. But what happened is we started identifying, sifting through, and identifying what we didn't want, and then we started thinking more and more about what we didn't want. The way that from now on you're going to be, that we are now, is that when we see something that we don't want, just, you can point your finger at it if you want to, it might be just a thought, but point your finger or just, look in that direction on where that thought is, that, so you turn your head and you say, this is, when something happens that's unwanted, you just say, this is what I don't want. And then ask God, what do I want? What has this birthed? Because it is not possible to have the wanted without the unwanted, because you wouldn't know what the wanted is if you didn't have the unwanted. So the unwanted is merely a guiding post for you to recognize, this is what I don't want. And then it's the birthing place for you to birth what you do want. So I was sharing with you, one of our participants had mentioned that they moved and the house was too small and they couldn't fit all the furniture in. So what that is you don't think about, oh, it's too small. You think, oh, I can't wait to live in that 5,000 square foot house and being so happy and having, children or whatever the case may be, but just start dreaming about what you do want. That small house is actually a blessing. That deal that went south is actually a blessing. It's all blessings to you, for you, in order to birth the things that you do want. And then as you turn the other cheek, as you turn away from what you don't want to what you do want, that you'll start seeing all of this goodness flowing to you, all of the things that you want. And I wouldn't really say use the word be patient. Forget patient. Rather, trust that everything is coming to you in the perfect timing and the perfect portions. And so now this isn't just, a bunch of la-la land and everything. Last time we talked about that neuroscientists, quantum physicists, biologists, everybody agrees that it's our thought that creates things into matter. And so this is proven, but I show you proof with thousands of people that have been through this process that they start having more money coming in, closing more deals, that as long as you just take what I'm sharing with you and doing the simple exercises every week, that you are going to go to all the places that you have asked for. And you just know it's all coming in the perfect timing and the perfect place. So what I love about teaching here is that I'm usually not very much on the agenda, and for sure that's the case because we haven't even gotten to the agenda, and that's cool because those are the perfect words that I wanted to share with you today. And so you just know that this is, in fact, the things that you needed to hear today in order to really catapult you into a new life. Think about a new, easy, abundant, prosperous, healthy, happy life. You are birthing yourself into it right now because you're on this webinar. This will literally help you to get where you want to go. So today we're going to have a better understanding of yourself, you, as well as others. And we're going to review the 4 behaviors and 6 motivations of us energy beings. We are energy. We are, any scientist will tell you that your finger isn't this hard, solid finger that it appears, that it actually is all these atoms moving around with more space than there is matter. And so we are running around. In fact, our whole body, 99% of our body is renewed after a year. We get like a new liver every 3 months. So you can direct on how you want your body to be. Do you want to be younger? Do you want to be healthier? It doesn't matter what type of dis-ease you had been before that created this unhealthy situation that you might be in, that all you have to do is ease up and start calling forth what you want. I want a healthier body. And remember, you do what I want, why I want, and then God will do the how. Your source will take care of the what, when, and where. And so you just have faith that that's the case, and you'll see it's going to come. But start looking for it. Start looking for out-of-the-blue things that you have described. So some of you have shared with me, and I encourage all of you to get back with me and email me and let me know on the amazing things that are happening to you. For example, by Friday, one day after our webinar last week, that we already had someone that attracted a listing out of the blue. This weekend, another agent had got 2 signed contracts, and again, it was just kind of out of the blue with one buyer, one listing, and so out of the blue things happen. And if they didn't happen to you, they actually did. You just didn't notice them. You didn't expect them. You didn't take advantage of them. You didn't realize this was God helping you, guiding you, loving you, supporting you to what you want. So this is going to be a rocking session, and it already has. And so we're going to look at the 4 behaviors and how you identify the behaviors. So within 30 seconds, I'm going to show you how to be able to identify the behaviors of other people and then raise the curtain of communication with these people, because you'll modify and you'll be more focused on how you would need to be in order to more effectively communicate with them. So this is going to be very hands-on, and you'll see that some of this is blue sky, some of this is rooted in Mother Earth, and so you'll see that this is rooted. This will give you specific tactics in order to help you to build deep and meaningful relationships and to build your thriving business and life. We're going to look at the 6 motivations. There's only 6 motivations that people make a decision on, and you're going to learn today what those 6 are and how to identify those 6 motivations on what the top 2 motivations of that person are. Because when you start speaking other people's language, instead of what motivates you, you start speaking their language, that they'll start making a decision in your favor. And then we're going to identify high payoff activities, since that was in Success Unit 1, and it talked about high payoff activities, and I'll review with you professionally what probably your 5 high payoff activities are. And then we're going to look at ideal referral partnerships. And it's truly the secret to real estate. It's the key to building $1 million business. I just had one of my people that I'm coaching with that decided that she went to a luxury home seminar because one of our goals is that she wants to increase her average sale. Her average sale is about $125,000 right now. Well, she just picked up a $300,000 home. Why is that? Because she started thinking about what she wanted and why she wanted it. And so she got attracted then to luxury homes. And in there was a 2-day seminar, amazing seminar. And one of it was to understand how millionaires think. And so I'm a millionaire, and so I'll tell you how I think and the words that I use. And so it was interesting that in this course, what she heard is that what millionaires think about is they really want to have a better experience. They want to have a good experience. They want to laugh. They want to enjoy themselves. It's not all this serious stuff. So if you feel you're too serious and you got to work hard, and you got to keep on struggling, why don't you let that go? And then just start allowing the things that you want. So then they continued on saying that that these wealthy people don't like being called wealthy. And what do they like being called? Successful. They like to be called. So when you say yes, and you're so successful. And so this is typically, at least her goal is $300,000 to $1 million. That's what she feels good at. That once you start selling $1 million homes, then she can start selling multi-million-dollar homes. And I have people that are doing that, people that I coach that are doing that started out at 100,000, 150,000 average, and now are selling $1 million homes. And you can do that too. So out of the blue, that what we discussed then in our coaching yesterday, that we identified 2 neighborhoods that were just all downstream that are all $300,000 or more. And we developed this specific tactics and strategies. But one of the reasons why was downstream, and remember, you want to always do things that are easy. So I said, I just want you to pick 2 neighborhoods that are in your neighborhood, near you, that are easy for you. And she goes, oh, well, I just thought of one neighborhood. It's $300,000, and that $300,000 neighborhood, I actually 10 years ago was a sales rep and actually built 2 of those homes with the company that I was with. And I said, well, that's all easy. You go to those homes and say, hey, it's a 10-year anniversary. I want to stop by and let you know I'm doing real estate, et cetera. And so we started developing these amazing strategies. Well, it's all because I deal referral partners. And so it's you attracting the different people. So she knows the sales agent in the second community. She knows the sales agent for this new development where they're building, guess what? $300,000 to $1 million, or a little over $1 million, $1.2 million homes, and she happens to know that person. And I said, have you seen that person yet? No, she hasn't gone and seen that and talked to them. So we developed a whole amazing strategy for new home builders that I do with my coaching. So again, you look at this and you say, oh my God, the key to building my $1 million business is referral partners. So we're going to talk about that, but I want you to realize, and so I know some of you have already thought of the ideal referral partners that will give you referrals into people. So referral partners could be your minister. Okay. I have another lady I'm coaching with that she, decided to go to her church. And I said, well, how big is the church? And she said, well, there's about 7,000 members. And I said, oh, do you realize that there's 12 people out of 100 that are interested in buying and selling a home? She goes, oh my gosh, think of all that opportunity. Think of all those hundreds of people that I could help serve in my church. And then she said, you know what though? I'm going to just start out with the staff, because the staff is 50 people. Oh, and so she goes to the minister and says, hey, I'd like to help the staff, and I have a program that it will save the staff money and everything to do it, and that way the word will get out. So just one step at a time. Just know that ideal referral partner is there for you, and you just ask. And so I want you to write this down, is I want to expand my imagination. So I want you to expand your imagination. There is so much abundance. You live, write this down, I live in a world of plenty. There is plenty of anything you want. You ask for it, and Source will make more of it for you. You're not taking from anybody. Okay, that everybody is fine as long as you're fine and you're thinking about you. So I had a person the other day say, well, tell me I have I'm starting to sell these higher end homes, but what about the poor people that, have $80,000 to $100,000 homes on who I was dealing with? So they're just fine. They're not poor people. They're, financially maybe they're millionaires, and you never know that maybe they're really thrifty with their money, but they're being served too. There are people that have a desire to serve those people, but you have to follow your desire. So you don't have to worry about anybody else. You don't have to ever worry about anything. All you need to do is focus on what you want. So let us begin here. And what we're going to do is we're going to review the 4 different behavior styles of mankind. I want you to get 2 things out of this. The first thing is, within 30 seconds, I want you to identify the behavior of the person you are speaking with. And so most of us are real high one behavior style, pretty high another behavior style, and then 2 behavior styles we're not very high at. And so you want to identify what's that highest behavior style. Within 30 seconds, you'll be able to do that after we go through this exercise. And then you want to modify your behavior. So number 1, identify the behavior. Number 2, modify the behavior to more align with the person you're speaking with. By doing so, you'll open up their curtain of communication. I would recommend that you take out a blank sheet of paper and you write a plus mark on that sheet of paper, and we're going to start out with different. The D is going to be on the north side, up on the top here with my pointer on the. You'll put the D here, so you'll write a line, have a line, a big plus mark. The D is going to be here, so it's going to be the 4 at the top of the page. You can write down the 4 D period, capital D period, I period, S as in Sam period, and then C as in cat, period. So the 4 disc behavior styles at the top of the page. And then you don't necessarily have to write in this, but our key is that we're going to first identify the behavior style, what behavior style it is, be able to understand that behavior style, and then what they're experts in, every behavior style, that they're typically very good in something. And then the percent of population, you're going to even know the percent of population of these different behavior styles, and then how you modify your behavior style to raise that shade of communication. So we're going to start with the D. And again, I would recommend that you write all this down. And so I'm going to talk through it. The D is for driver/dominant. So think about, and the way to really internalize this information is to think about a person that you know, because you know somebody that is very much a driver, very dominant, and they typically like to control, and they like to do telling, almost demanding. And so can you think of that person? You probably use different words instead of a D for driver. You probably might have at times in your life called those people different names than that. But the fact is that this is who they were born to be. We have been told through the ages, do not judge. This whole process here that I'm sharing with you will help you to no longer judge people and instead honor and love people and realize just how remarkable this is, that with all four behavior styles, that's what makes the world go round, that it helps birth new desires because of the contrast of other people. And so again, the D is a driver. They're very controlling and telling, and typically what they are is they're good decision makers. Now, I didn't say, and if you were all D's right now in this webinar, that you'd be saying, yeah, I make good decisions. But I didn't say you made necessarily good decisions. That a D, they're going to make a decision and they're going to make it quickly, which means when you are in front of a prospect, a client of yours that with a D, that you just have a limited amount of time to present your perspective and your opinion and your counsel to them, and they're going to make a quick decision. And so you want to make sure that you are, and so identify that behavior style. They're very dominant, saying, hey, what do you need? What do you want? Getting right to the point. And then number 5 is, how do you be with them? Is you want to be efficient and you want to be right to the point as well. So you want to be efficient. And so when they come up to you and they ask, hey, how's it going? Or they'll say, hey, how's it going? And you say, oh, it's great. I woke up this morning on the right side of the bed and I did my joy shop. I had breakfast. They don't want to hear it. Okay. That what you want to do is get right to the point, be very efficient. Say, hey, I'm doing just fine, thank you. And what did you think about that house? Or whatever, the question is, and typically asking questions, helping them to be in control because they want to stay in control. So that's the D. And then we're going to go to the I. So on the right-hand side, on the east side, I want you to write down the I, and the I is for influencer. And these people are very outgoing, and they love to do a lot of telling, a lot of talking. And so they're, out, they typically, when they talk, they're talking with their hands, a lot of hand movement. And in fact, I went to a party a few weeks ago, and there were about 5 groups of people standing around talking. And I could just, by observing each group, I could tell you which were the I's, because they were typically the ones that were doing a lot of the talking, a lot of hand motion, whatever. So all of you, again, I want you to think about, who do you know that's a high I? And what I'm sharing with you is the extreme of each behavior, that, again, we're at different levels, varying levels of these behaviors, but with an I, that what they're good at is, like the D is good at decision making. Well, the I, the influencer, they're good at influencing people. And so they have a natural ability to be able to influence people, and 28% of the population are this way. And so how do you want to be? You want to be stimulating. I had a guy come up to me at a Christmas party last year, and he goes, oh, Dr. Hank, I know you. And, he starts talking to me, and he's going on, and I'm thinking, this guy is 100% I. And that he talks for like 7 minutes to me. Okay, I've never met him before. He asked me how I was. I said fine, and then he just took off from there. And so he's talking, and then he goes, hey, listen, I gotta go, but man, you are just awesome. I just love you, and it's so good to talk with you. And I'm thinking, no, he talked to me. He didn't talk with me, and he thinks I'm just great, and all I did was say that I'm okay. Well, the reason why he liked me is because, in fact, he was able to do the influencing. He was able to talk. So you know some of those people. I kid with eyes, like if you're in a hurry and you see walking down the hall a high eye coming to you, make a left-hand turn, to avoid them. And again, I just jest with that. But and we want to honor all of these behavior styles. And so with the eye, the influencer, that they're just awesome. They're very good at influencing people, and typically that salespeople fall into this. And so for most of you, you're real estate agents, but for some of you that aren't, all of this is applicable to any profession. And the beauty is that what you want to do with the eye is you want to be stimulating. So as they're talking, you want to raise it up a little. You don't want to fake it and say, hey, how's it going? But you want to raise it up and realize that what they like is they like this lot of activity and the hand movement and, hey, how are you? So you don't go to an eye and say, hey, how's it going? Okay. You go, hey, how's it going? And so you lift it up a little and you raise it up. And by raising it up, that you'll start opening up that shade of communication. In fact, this is all subconscious and psychological, that people don't realize that they're even drawing down or raising up their shade, but they are based on your behavior with them. So with the eye, you want to be stimulating. Then we go to the S, and the S is for steady. And with the steady, that these people basically don't rock the boat. When you look at, if you have a client this way, that they can drive you nuts. You don't have to allow that though, but in the past, you've had clients that said, well, I don't know, I'm not sure. You take a buyer and they're looking at one house after the next, and you take them weekend after weekend out, and it's like, holy mackerel, will these people make a decision? Well, they eventually will, but typically that they just don't like to rock the boat. And so they basically are saying to themselves, everything's all right. We really don't need to make any changes. In fact, the reason why I have the D and the S opposing here on opposing sides is because the D and the S typically don't get along very well. They do a lot of headbutting. Why? The D is saying, hurry up, let's get going. And the S is saying, hey, let's slow down. There's no hurry. And so this can be frustrating, obviously. But now that you know this, that you can start understanding on where they're coming from, modifying their behavior styles, so you can actually start that communication and more effectively get along with them. So I shared with you on the S that it takes them a while to make a decision. And so what you need to do is, let's call it A to B. A is where you are now with the client. And so let's say they want to do, they're considering listing their home. And so A is you have a prospect on a listing, and B is you want them to sign a contract and list that home and sell it in less than 30 days. Well, what you need to do is you need to give them a lot of little baby steps without much time in between. So with a D, you can just say, hey, we can put this house up for sale, and I can get you $5,000 more than what it's appraised at, and here's the contract, and they're going to say yes or no. With the S, you have to be a little bit easier. That, hey, why don't we meet tomorrow and talk about, I'll show you the CMA and, the different areas of the market and the comparative market analysis. And let me, show that to you tomorrow and see how you feel about that. And then when you meet with them tomorrow, you say, hey, I'd like to call you tonight and give you some answers on, some buyers that I feel maybe we can have. And so what you want to do is you want to hit them with a lot of little steps. They're not going to go a 180 on you. That you need to just slowly start moving them in the direction of where you want. And because of the timeline on you want to do this quickly, you want to increase those intervals and decrease the time between intervals so that you can start giving them this information. This is invaluable. I know you've all had people, and think of, again, a person that's an S, a steady, and think, oh yeah, those steadies, I know what you mean, that they took and taken so long to make a decision, and they're indecisive, and they're kind of hee-hawing around that, and so these are the people that you recognize, oh, they're just an S, and I need to give them little baby steps, and they will move, and they will do what I'm asking them to do. These people are typically very even paced, so under the S number 3, they're very even paced. And catch this, 40% of the population are S's, the most out of any behavior style. So the odds of you running into prospects, clients, etc., referral partners that are S's are pretty significant. Now, probably your ideal referral partner could well be an I, right? Why? They're out there talking to a lot of people. They love talking. They love influencing people. So probably some referral partners that you have are more I's than they would be S's. However, everybody and anybody can be any way that you want them to be, and so you call forth. But this will help you to better understand where they're coming from so you can come from the same place. That again opens up that shade of communication, excuse me. And so with the S on the steady, that how do you want to be? With the D, we said you want to be efficient. You want to get right to the point. With the I, you want to be stimulating. You want to be talking with them and just having a party. It's like a big party with an I. If we were all I's in the room, we'd never get to the agenda. We'd all have a big party. But with the S, you want to be agreeable. That you don't realize it, but when you have been talking to an S and you say no to them, they draw down their shade of communication, and they're thinking, like, I really don't like you. I'm not feeling very good, with you, whatever. And you don't even know it. Okay. In fact, sometimes they don't even know it. They're really not going to move. They're not going to budge. And the reason why is because you told them no. So never tell an S, and for the most part, anyone, no. But on an S, what you want to do is be agreeable. So what does that mean? Don't say no. Don't say but. How does the but come in? Where you say, oh, this is a great idea. Why don't you do this? But, and you say but, and so that whatever they said, what you just said, just erases it. So you tell, they say something to you like, gee, I'd like to move in this neighborhood. And you say, well, that's a great idea, but really you should move in that neighborhood. That doesn't go well with them. They're going to close down their shady communication. So what you want to do is you want to use the word and. So that's a wonderful idea, and have you also considered going to this neighborhood? And so it's you're going to see on how amazing this works, that I'm speaking about 100 words per minute. Your minds are going at least 300 words per minute. And what are you doing with the extra time? Most of us aren't even in the room. We're thinking about something else. And if you're thinking right now about something else, I want you to get right back here with me. And what you want to do is you want to start just gently and easily taking control of what am I thinking about. That I'm not going to think about the things that trouble me. I'm going to think about what I want. And then I'm going to think about the amazing way here. So when you're talking with the person and they're talking with you, and at that time, within 30 seconds, you could be asking yourself, what behavior style is this person? Are they a D, an I, an S, or a C? And then once you identify their behavior style, you simply modify their behavior style. So with the S, you just be agreeable. And you be kind and agreeable with them. And again, doesn't mean you don't be kind and agreeable with the others, but this is critical with an S in order to be agreeable. Then we get to the C, and the C is for conscientious and compliant. And you haven't sifted through, met too many people like that, but you do know people, and you've had previous experience with clients, whatever, that they've been very conscientious and compliant, and they're all about facts and data and rules and regulations. So the facts and data that they'll say, hey, how far is the fire hydrant from the front door of this house? And you're thinking, I could give a hoot. Who cares and who knows? But the fact is, they love facts and data. So if they're a C, You want to make sure you're prepared if you're showing them homes or whatever, that you want to make sure that you're prepared with the facts and data. If you don't know, don't try to BS them like an I would probably do. That what you do is you say, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll find out. And they'll respect you because of that, because you're telling them, number one, the truth, and you're being ethical. And number two is that they're going to like you because you're going to get to them what they want. And what these people want are facts and data. They also are about rules and regulations. So a high C says rules are made to be followed. Most of you on this webinar are not a high C, and rules are made to be followed. A medium C is rules and regulations are nice guidelines. And a low C says rules are made to be broken. And so depending on who you're dealing with will depend on how you will present yourself. And the way to present yourself with a C, with a high C, is to be accurate. So you don't want to say, well, it's about 50 feet away. You want to tell them, it's 50.3 feet away from the front door of that fire hydrant, or whatever the case may be. So that's a DISC. And a couple of hints here to help you with this is the D and the I. You can kind of put a line between the D and the I. And the D and I are typically more extroverted than they are introverted. So how do I recognize the D and I? Well, one of the ways, other than what we've talked about here, is that they're typically more extroverted. The I and the S, they're typically more concerned with relationships. And look at the amount of population. You're looking at 40%, 28%, 68% of the population are more concerned with relationships versus with tasks. And so, and I'll give you an example about that in a minute. And again, I would write this, a line between the S and the C, that these people are typically more introverted. So it will be more challenging to identify the more introverted because they are, introverted. But right away, you know that, hey, they're probably either an S or a C. And then you can, pick up on as they're talking and as they are on just, exactly what they are. And then finally, the D and the C, the driver and the conscientious, they're mainly concerned with tasks. And so I was providing this information to an IBM executive, and she, when we got to this point, she started to cry. And I said, I know this is good stuff, but it's not that good. You don't have to cry over it. And she goes, no, I just realized I've been married for 13 years. And I realize now that I'm an IS concerned with relationships, and my husband is a DC concerned with tasks. And I said, well, what have you been doing? And she goes, well, for the last 13 years, I've been trying to change him. I've been trying to change him to me being concerned with relationships. And, he's just not going to be a DC. It's just concerned with tasks, and they're not going to be warm and fuzzy. It's just the way they are. So she always thought that he was just trying to be Mr. Macho. And the fact is, no, he's just a DC. And by the way, the gender, the male or female, it doesn't matter on that. It's not like DCs. There's more male DCs than women. That it doesn't play out that way. And so I said, give me an example on how your relationships, the dynamics of the discussions you have, the communication. And she goes, well, if we want to go on a vacation, I'm thinking and talking about, hey, who's going to come? Or, is Billy's friends are we going to invite them? Are we going to invite, the in-laws, whatever. And he's like, hey, when do we leave? How are we getting there? Where are we staying? And when do we get back? And so she said, yeah, so she's tried to make him warm and fuzzy. And so what you don't want to do is what you want to do rather is you want to allow people to be who they are, being in a state of allowing many things, allowing your well-being that flows to you, only well-being flows, but also allowing people to be who they are. And this is the D-I-S-C. Now, what I want to do is I want to take us out of this, and I'd like you to go to your presentation, the results I had shared with you. And let me just see. I'm trying to pick up where we are with that. There we go. What I'd like you to do is get out your assessment now. And so you have each should have completed your assessment. If you did, it was sent to you. If you didn't, you'll see that you will want to, because it has amazing, amazing things in it. So what I'd like you to do is go to page 3. You'll see on the bottom there the little number 2 there, the page 3, and it starts out with sales characteristics. And so I'd like you to read this page and then the next page on the sales characteristics of you. So you should have that either in hard copy or soft copy, and you can go ahead and go there now. And I'd like you to review those sales characteristics. What I'd like you to do is write down some things on, hey, this is really me. And maybe then also write down if you think, well, that isn't me, because I can share with you that this is extremely accurate, over 93% accurate, and it pretty much is the way it is. I served on an advisor to John Deere, and we were in a room filled with about 50 executives, and I was presenting this to them. And when we came to this point, one of the men had read these 2 pages, and he said, this isn't me. And now most of these guys had been working with each other 20, 30 years, and so they knew each other very well. And so I said to this man, I said, would you please read out loud to everybody, to the whole room here, just the first paragraph about what it says about you, and then let's get their opinion if they think that it's like you or not. And so he goes, I'll be happy to. This is nothing like me. And you can tell he's a D, okay? He's, real outgoing. He's gonna tell me how it is, whatever. So he reads the first paragraph, and everybody goes, that's exactly like you. And so what you want to do is read this knowing that it's your responses, and so this is you. And so I'm going to give you a minute here. I'm not going to talk. I'm going to give you a minute to go ahead and read the next 2 pages, and then I'm going to show you a couple of other things in this assessment so that you can better understand it. So I'll give you 2 minutes. All right. So I hope you enjoyed your profile, and what did you think? Did you like it? You can always respond on the response item there. That, yeah, pretty amazing, huh? So there's many things to review here, and I just want to share with you on page 5 here. Right here are the 6 steps to the sales process. And so you can see on, so again, this is a Len's assessment. So she's a real estate agent, and she is absolutely amazing at prospecting. And she has about 20 leads every week that is too much for her, and she gives them to me, and then I send them out as broker leads. But I mean, she knows how to prospect, and look at her results on prospecting, and then also look at her results on closing. She's amazing at that. What she is not very good at is qualifying. And so thus, this helped her to be aware of the fact that she's good at prospecting, first impressions, but on the qualifying, she's not very good at. She's not very strong at. And so she actually has, so what you do from this information is you get resources to help you. So in this case, she went and she has a loan officer that she works with very closely, and she immediately just sends the prospect to the loan officer, and they pre-qualify them. And so where where she wasn't very strong in, her qualifying, that because of this report, she was able to identify that and develop strategies in order to help her. So there's just amazing information. Oh, you'll also notice it says adapted and natural. And so I'm going to take you to, in a minute here, on two different graphs to look at who you really are, which is your natural self, in the right graph, and then the left graph, how you modify your behavior style. So in her case, for example, in the prospecting, she is really strong as a natural ability of doing it of 9.0, but then she backs off a little of that on that and goes to 8.5. And so in these cases, she doesn't have a lot of disparity. But if you have disparity, a lot of disparity about a point or so different, that this is causing stress for you because you're being somebody who you really aren't, and that you're not your natural God-born gifts of your behaviors. And so that's that one, that this will then go through all kinds of amazing information for you on things like the value of the organization, the ways you like to communicate. I would suggest that this is about you personally, about the ways that a checklist for communicating to you. And so you may want to share this with your loved ones and to help them with that. And understanding of what you are. Here's some selling tips. Selling to a person who's dependent, neat, conservative. That's a C, right? Selling to a person who's ambitious, forceful. That's a D. Bottom right, selling to a person who's magnetic. Who is that? That's an I. And then when selling, bottom left, when selling to a person who's patient, predictable, reliable. And who is that? That's the S. And so here's some more information for you in order to really start preparing yourself and becoming a master at communication, at understanding other people, and then being able to open up that shade of communication with them. So all kinds of different things. This page is kind of funny on the perceptions because it's like, here's how you look at yourself. Your self-perception is really good. And when you're under extreme pressure, that this is how you become. And so usually that bottom box, people say, oh boy, I don't want to be that way. And again, it's extreme pressure. It means you're really not that way. That when you ease up and be at ease and be who you are, everything that I teach here, that when you do that, that you'll align with your source and everything will be great, and your self-perception will be who you really are. Because in fact it is. Here's another way of looking at the DISC. The highlighted areas are the descriptions of you as far as what you are in those different areas. And so I'm going to, again, skip through. There's some amazing information, time wasters here for you, how to increase your time management. So now we get into time management. And again, this is invaluable. And I would suggest that this week, that if you haven't already, to thoroughly read through it, especially now that you have a better understanding of it. What I'd like to do, and there's an action plan for you, and which is an amazing action plan. And then those behaviors are broken out into 8 different behaviors, looking from the top down to the least behavior that you have. So like with Len, she doesn't have a very organized workplace, not very good with data. But if you look at the top, that she loves frequent interaction with it. And that's 6.4 there. Where we have that, that's the national mean there. That's where most of the population is 6.4, and then that's about 70% of the population, 68% of the population is in this area, and you can see that she's way above that, being able to, liking frequent interaction with people. So I'd like you to go to this page now, and it's page 31, and it's 2 graphs. And this is going to help you significantly, especially if those graphs look different. So the right graph is who you really are. And so that is your natural self. So graph 2, and you can see it says natural style. This is who you really are, your right graph. In this case, Len is an ID. I for influencer, D for driver. She has very little S, which means she's going at a real fast pace, and she has very little C, very little data. And then now what I'd like you to do is look at the left graph, and this is how you modify your behavior. So look at your left graph, and if you have a 10-point difference or more, this is causing you stress, and you want to go back to who you are. In Len's case, she has a 14-point, just subtract the 88 here, the 88 from the 74, and that will tell you if you're over 10 points difference. If it is, in this case, Len is modifying her behavior and being more of a D, and this is creating stress for her. That you can also see that the I, she decreases her I. She's not talking as much as she really wants to, because this is how the left graph is how I behave in the outside world. So it's an amazing graph, and what you do is you just subtract the D from D, I, S, S, C, C, and that will help you to understand where you are with that. And so now I'm going to get out of that for a second and take you to let's see here, take you to our graph here, and let's see. Oh, okay. That now what I want to do is I want to look at the 6 motivators. So that was the DISC. And so, again, to read your assessment, and that was the first half of the assessment. The second one is there's 6 motivators in the world that help motivate people. These are how people make decisions and the language they speak. When you understand this, and you can only understand other people and what they are based on what they're telling you. And so if they're telling you, like, hey, I want to know what the return on investment is, then they'll be utilitarian. And this goes in the order of, and so all your marketing should start being based on this information. You want to show that you can, like, for example, I can get the most money for when you sell your home. That more people than not are high utilitarian, and they want a return on investment. So, and we're going to take a look at your assessment where you fall, but know that this is how people, in general, the population, how they fall. The second one is theoretical. People want knowledge. And so you want to be knowledgeable. It doesn't matter if you're a brand new agent or not, that you can be knowledgeable by understanding your neighborhood that you're taking them, by understanding what they want, the type of home that they want. So lots of questions to understand what they want, because it's their universe as far as what they're looking for, and you need to understand how they're going to make a decision. So if they typically are going to make it based on an ROI, on knowledge, or on helping others. So helping others, those are the people that, for example, would be real engaged in knowing, like they'd love to hear that, like if they ask you, oh, are there neighborhood parties? Those are people that would make this decision. And so if you know about, yeah, there's neighborhood parties, it's real nice, there's a lot of children, there's schools nearby, that they like that and they can help other people. So those that are involved in social and wanting harmony with people on that those top 3 in all of your marketing, you should have about the return on investment, about the knowledge, and again, your knowledge in a certain market or whatever. It doesn't matter, again, how many years you've been in here, because we have some people that are brand new. It doesn't matter. You're not brand new anymore because, you've been an agent for 2 weeks. It's not brand new. And so you're an experienced agent now. Just call yourself that, and you will be that, and call it the way you want to be it. The fourth one is individualistic. Those people, if you run into them, they want the biggest house on the block. Okay. And you might be saying, hey, I'm low individualistic. And you tell them, well, you won't get a very good return on that. They don't care about a good return. What they care about is they want to be the best. They want to have the biggest house, etc. And then traditional and order to life. So this is very orderly that, is there fire protection? Is there, and so it's very orderly. They want to, how is the traffic? That they just want everything to have order in the life. And so when you get in the home, then that would be, does it make sense? Is the master bedroom, whatever, on one side and the kids' room on the other side? And, is it convenient to get to the kitchen, whatever? Those would be traditional. And then finally aesthetic, which most people are not, and it's very low, but some people are, and they like form and harmony. So they like everything together. Again, the main thing, I'm giving you a lot of information here, but the main thing I want you to recognize is that most people are going to talk about wanting an ROI. They want to know a knowledge about the neighborhood, about the home, etc. And then they want to know whether or not it's helping other people. And so an amazing way to do that. And so what I'm going to do is just back out of here for a second and just show you on lens assessment again. And what we're going to do is, and so you can go down to your assessment, and that I want to show you a actual graph, the graph on how this looks and how to interpret it. And so again, it's filled with valuable information. We're not going to go through it today, but here are the 6 different, and so this is according to this is Lens now on how she is. Now notice under utilitarian, see this line right here? That's the national mean. So you can see top one where people make decisions is they want to get an ROI. The next one is theoretical, and then the next one is social. Then you can see the other ones trail. If you're real high, if you're typically 50 points or more, you don't understand why people wouldn't want a return on investment. But you need now understand that some people, if they're not as high, that you need to understand on what makes them tick, what their language is, and how they do it. If you're real low, if they start, so for example, on aesthetic, and they start talking about the aesthetic and the form and harmony of it, that Len just wouldn't be able to relate at all with this person about form and harmony. That, GAR is everything is an easy access to, the bathroom from the bedroom or whatever, that Len isn't going to relate to that. She's going to say, look, this is a high return on investment, and this is a 3.2, a number of square feet, or whatever the case be. But you can see, depending on what your values are, you need to be aware of what you value, and then be aware of other people can value other things, and you want to speak their language. So an amazing, amazing understanding. And again, I'd like you this week to take your time and move through that. Okay, with that, and again, I gave you a lot of information there on our 6 different ways to motivate, and just know that keep those top 3 in mind. Moving on, then let's look at your high payoff activities. In Success Unit 1, we talked about what are our high payoff activities, the most important things that you can do. One of the reasons why I can guarantee measurable results and improvement with any real estate agent is because of this fact that I help people get focused on what's important, the high payoff activities. And of course, what the most important high payoff activity is their thought, and for them to be thinking about what they do want and not what they don't want. That most people are only investing 30% of their time in thinking and activities doing, only 30% of their time, and I'll get you to at least 60%, and you're going to get yourself to at least 60% of the time and higher, is that you're going to be engaged in high payoff activities. Now, this is for a real estate agent, but it can really be applicable to virtually any type of business and anything that you're looking at professionally. So high payoff activity number 1 is to pre-pave your day, your week, your month, and your life. And if you don't, someone else will. So the main way to do that is a joy shop. I encourage you again, make sure you're doing your joy shop every morning. This is your create shop. This is where you create your life the way you want it. Many of you have shared with me your out of the blue experiences on business and personally that have happened, on relationships that have happened, that people, things, ideas have come to you out of the blue. And it's because of this joy shop. It's because you have now started to take the time, invest the time to develop on what the things that you want in your life, on what you want and why you want it. And that calls the energy in order to create all the things that you want. Number two is I would suggest your high payoff activity is meeting with ideal referral partners. Ideally, I'd like to have you with 10 ideal referral partners. They could be a referral partner from a new home builder sales agent, from a minister, from your hairdresser, from a family member, from the neighborhood association. They are right there under your nose. And I shared with you that I've coached people for 5 years, and by the 5th year, they all of a sudden say, oh my God, I forgot this one person who would be an ideal referral partner, and it takes their business to even a higher level. And so you want to just be thinking about who are the people that are well connected that can help me in order to get what I want. Number three is to meet with the ideal prospects that are going to be turned into ideal clients that you receive from your ideal referral partners. Now, an ideal referral partner could be like, realtor.com or whatever that. Those are, could be sources, but they're not nearly as good as a referral partner, a true referral partner that is a person that gives you a personal introduction. Remember that personal introduction is critical in order to make sure that you are now in more of a service mode than trying to sell yourself mode, that you don't need to sell anything. You're already sold when your referral partner recommends you as the agent, real estate agent of choice, or recommends you for anything. And then number four, meet with and follow up with clients. So follow up, it's critical. Like, for example, Len wouldn't be as strong and isn't as strong in number four as she is, for example, in 1 and 2. She is so successful in closing 6 homes a month. Why? Because of number 1. That's the main reason. And then number 2, that she's very good at making sure she gets ideal referral partners. They can also be loan officers. Len has a loan officer that's a referral partner. Just amazing. They do joint marketing, so her costs of marketing are reduced in half. And she doesn't invest more than, I don't know, maybe $700 a month. And again, she's $1 million per month agent. That she doesn't invest much, because where all the least expensive and most effective way to get business, your magic bullet to the real estate industry and really any other business, is an ideal referral partners. And so that follow up with your clients. And then number 5 is to close and ask for referrals. And so you then close, and when you close them, you say, hey, do you know anybody else? I would suggest that after you close them, so it's a buyer and they move into a new house, I would suggest that you throw them a party at their house and invite all the neighbors and get to know all the neighbors and let them know that you're the one that can get the most money for their home and can get them another home. And so it's a great way. Just think about being intimate, about relationships. I know we live in a technology world, but the fact is that people will move on knowing you, that when they trust you, when they honor you. And so that's your high payoff activities. Referral partnerships. So if for those of you that, are just starting to move into this referral partnerships, that I want you first to start asking for your ideal referral partner. Who is my ideal referral partner? And I want to attract my ideal referral partner into my experience. So I'd like you to take a minute right now and just think about, who is that ideal referral partner? Who's my ideal referral partner that I want that I want to be able to attract now. That who is that? They're right there in your experience. And again, it can be family members, can be people that you write a check to, not necessarily a big company like the electric company, but who do you do business with? Past clients are just amazing. Start calling your past clients. The only other thing that is important to your business, other than what I've shared with you, is your database. And that by you having a database and a drip campaign hitting them like once a month, that you're there and you're available, because most people move within 5 years, and a lot of people move within 3 years, and so that will just continue. And not only will they be moving, but they also know people that want to buy or sell a home, and the more that you're in their head, by you sending an email, by you sending a postcard, by you calling them, that the more you will build your database. That I use the example of the one lady that wanted to earn $38,000 by the end of the next month, and she in fact earned $38,000 or more than that, like $41,000, and she all did it based on her database. So make sure you have a database. If you need help with any of this, you contact me and you let me know. In fact, I have a free CRM, customer relationship management system, that you can use from one of my preferred vendors. And so for those of you that don't know, I'm actually a business partner also with Ultima Real Estate. We have about 350 agents, and that you keep 100% of your commissions, and it's just a monthly fee of $127, and then a $75 E&O, air and emissions fee per closing, and that's it. And we have all the training for you, et cetera. So as something to consider for those of you that aren't with Ultima. So back to referral partners, that identify who your ideal referral partners are. And right now, I want you to write down a person who you're going to contact. And when you contact them, that then I want you, and I'd like you to do this today, that I'd like to have you call them and say, I was wondering if you could help me. And they'll say, sure, how can I? And you say, well, I would like to serve and help at least 5 families every month, either buy or sell their home. And you're so well connected that I was wondering if we could sit down and talk about that. And they say, sure, I'd love to sit down. You want to formalize this, and you want to meet with them every 2 weeks. So meet with them on the first meeting and share your ideal client who you want, somebody that, they're really motivated to buy or sell their home. They maybe live in a certain area. Maybe you're farming a certain area that, you want to do, that that likely they have good credit, likely they have enough money for, closing, and that they have a good income. And why not start not only increasing your number of closes, but increasing the average sale per close. And so get real specific on that ideal client, and that they won't know everything about that ideal client, but they'll know enough. And remember that why do they benefit? They benefit because they get to take their friends, their family, their loved ones, their clients, the people that they know, and they're able to build their own reputation and build a better relationship with them. Because why? Because he or she, the referral partner, gave them you, and you are special. You are awesome. And so I want you to embrace that and recognize that how special you are, and you call it and create it the way you want to now. This is your life, and you make it the way you want. This is your universe. You're in the center of it, and now you're going to make it the way that you want it. And one of the ways to do that is you're going to start talking to people and sharing your gift, that you are a successful real estate professional, and that you're here in order to serve and help all the people that they know. And they'll start giving you personal introductions. And literally, as long as you believe this works, that I have helped many people, agents, become independently wealthy based on just this one step on referral partners. So they're there, know that they are there. And even if you don't even know them right now, that source will bring them to you. You just start asking for it. Ask and you shall receive. And don't forget about a personal introduction. You don't want them just to give you a name and a number. You want them to actually call or contact that person and introduce you. And maybe you want to even give them a little thing on how the introduction is. Hey, I know so-and-so. She is a great real estate agent. And, they've been in business for a couple of years, or they're specializing in this. They did a great job with me, or they've done, wonderful things, or, whatever that is, write that little script for them to give you a personal introduction. And then number 4, you want to meet with your ideal referral partner every 2 weeks. You also want to contact them if they say, oh, by Friday, I'm going to be able to get someone by Friday, I'll be able to contact, the prospect that I think wants to buy or sell their home. And then you say, great, could I call you Friday afternoon? So you want to hold them accountable through this. So we have had just an amazing time today that I know that you're feeling now more in control. You're feeling more grounded. You have more clarity. You recognize on that you have the power to build a thriving business. You have the power to build a thriving life, that you can call it the way that you want it. You can trump circumstances, whatever circumstance is, that you know that from now on, and I have a great little quote where I say, I don't live circumstances, I create circumstances. And so you start creating the circumstances that you want. You want to be just out of the blue this week, be given out of the blue referrals, out of the blue cash paying clients, out of the blue listing. Or listings, that you just start calling forth what you want. And I'm telling you that source comes calling. God loves you. God wants to support you, guide you, love you. You just be at ease now. You relax. You get into your joy shop and feel the power of the thoughts that you're thinking about, the things that you desire. And then it's only possible to get what you want. And it's all good. That's what you're here for, to expand all that is through birthing these new desires. And so I'd like you to read your behavior and your motivational assessment. And so again, and if you haven't taken that, give that to me. You can now see how valuable it is and what an amazing story it tells about you. And you may want to share this with your significant others, etc. If you'd like one, like on the behavior profile, if you'd like that to be ran for a significant other or whatever, it's $100 to do that. And normally it's $300 each. And so I'll give that as you're part of the process to you. That listen to Success Unit 2 at least 6 times. And this is about understanding yourself and others. This will go into more detail about the behaviors as well as the motivators, the values of people, that on why people make decisions. And can you imagine, it's almost like cheating, but it's not, that when you understand people's behavior, you open up their curtain of communication. When you understand what motivates them and what their values are, that out of those 6 values, that then it will help you to address what's important to them, that will then help them to make the decision that you want them to make for their best interest, because you now know what their motivation is and you can now address and speak to them. So listen to it at least 6 times. Just keep on taking it in. I have people that have listened to this, these CDs for years. And so literally they, pick it up again. They're just always in the car or whatever, listening to it. And so the more you listen to it, the more it's going to change the way that you think. The more it's going to help you focus on the things that you want in order to create the type of person and experience that you want. And meet with at least one new ideal referral partner this week, and so make sure you do that. And they are there. And again, if you need help, if you have any questions, you just contact me and I'll help you. And then expect out of the blue things. Expect miracles this week. Start looking for and expecting miracles. Amazing and wonderful things are coming to you each. I promise you this. I know this. Then allow that in. Allow that in and allow the goodness of this life, the goodness of you to flow fully, the goodness of God to flow fully to and through you so that you can have the life of your dreams. And then feel good every day. And the number one thing in your joy shot to ask for is, I want to feel good. And as you say that you will start seeing that you're going to feel good and more of the things that you want. So it's an easy equation on how life works. You feel good, God will be able to deliver you all the things that you ask for. And it's that easy. It's not this struggle that you were told about working hard. And so with that, I thank you so much. I love you guys. Again, contact me with any questions that you have. And I've just thoroughly enjoyed this. Next week, we are off to our beliefs. And this is going to start, you're going to start changing the way that you believe. That's going to start changing the results in your life. So I love you. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.